Hey, my friends. Hey, welcome back. Good to see you. How have you been? I know it's been a while. Last time we talked, my friends, I was packing up all my Warhammer stuff, which I did, but the local game store here at the Santa Fe Place Mall, WizKids, they're having a summer escalation league for 40K, my friends, where you build and paint a 2,000 point 40K army. And so I went back to my storage and got some stuff out, my friends. Because you know what? If I'm ever going to play, I got to strike while the iron's hot, the old world, I know how to play a little bit because I played the old games. But man, 40K is a game I always wanted to play. In fact, this is old. This is what, okay, so my friends, when I bought this initial set, hold on. Don't charge, Ernie. There it is. So, my friends, Games Day 2011, okay? 2011 is when I bought this. My friends, in 2011, this was a $90 set, okay? So me and a buddy, we went halves on it. So he took the Space Marines, I have the Orkz. And I played one game where I got creamed, okay? And then the game store closed, and I just kept on playing fantasy and trying to play Age of Sigmar. But you know what, my friends? This is my chance. This is my chance to get in here and get into the game. So, here, let's just put this aside so it doesn't get damaged, okay? Because this is a vintage box, my friend. Yeah, this is 14 years old. Okay, so I went and got the data sheets because I do have the book, but I couldn't find it. It's in storage, okay? It's in storage. I have the app, but the data sheets are nice because it's going to make playing with easier, okay? So basically, this is a pay and build escalation league where you can play some games. And so I talked to the guys at the store, very nice gentlemen, and they said, I can probably get some games in and I can learn to play, Now, I'm going to be starting off with 500 points. And so basically I'm going to be bringing like a green tide, a lot of guys on foot. So basically what I'm going to start out with, my friends, is so I got all these guys here. So I got guys partially painted, okay? So I got some sluggers, I got some shooters, and then here's some guys I got a primer. So basically I'm going to be coming in with 46 models, okay? 46 models will be my 500 points. So what I'm bringing is I'm bringing in a unit of knobs, okay? I'm bringing in 2 units of boys, 20 each, and then I'm bringing in a war boss, okay? So that's my 500 points that I have to have painted, and that's what I start with. And then basically I have to write a 2,000 point list, and then we start with 500 points, and then we add 250 point increments. And then so basically I have the option to either just paint and build, and that would be it. Or I also have the opportunity to play small games. So I'm going to take advantage of that opportunity, okay? So now, I also have some more models in storage. I made sure all my Warhammer stuff was accessible. I'm going to need to go back anyways, because all these guys are paintings, so all their gun arms are missing. So I remember them being in a different bag. I had to glue them on still, because for some reason, it was easier to paint them separately than glue them on. Since these are the black Reach Orkz, it's pretty simple to do that, because it's all push mold, it's all push in. So, you can kind of see the little, well, you can't really see it, I don't have a good camera. But yeah, they just slap on. The Black Reach set was pretty monopose, and but that's okay, because it was a good deal, and I got a bunch online for cheap, because the market was flooded, so I got a bunch of them, okay. So as you can see, let me get a little closer, friends. Hold on. There you go. Yeah. Oh, God, I'm so rude. Hey, thanks for liking and watching. If you can, please subscribe. That would be awesome. It's so good to see you, my Warhammer friends. I missed you. Okay, I just missed the game. I miss hanging out and moving my little guys around. Okay, so this is my color scheme. So basically, I'm wearing tan pants. I got black boots, just pretty basic, And so, yeah. So I got these guys all partially painted. So it'll be easy for me to get to my 500 points pretty fast, After the 500 points, then I got to start putting some work in. It's the same thing too. I got my war boss, but his arm is in that other bag of arms. So I have another tub with more Warhammer stuff. It's probably in that one. I'm pretty good about keeping things organized, so yeah. So as you can see the contents, I have the contents here. So I got a lot of boys already started painting, okay? So I got easily enough to do my, I'm bringing in 20 shooters and 20 sluggers, the handguns and the rifles. And so 20 of each. And so they're all cap painted, so it'll be easy to finish up in time. Our first meetup's tomorrow, and I'll bring them in. I'll paint tomorrow at the store. I'm really looking forward to it because I'm a homebody. I just work and I stay home. And it's going to be nice to meet some fellow gamers. So the game store, it's pretty nice. They had another location, and now they're in Santa Fe only. And what's nice is there's some people I used to play with. It's funny because the owner is saying, Ernie, you should come in on Thursdays. That's when the old timers come in. That's basically us who played the previous editions. So I guess I would be an old timer because I started playing the 6 fantasy. I'd never played 40K. I've always wanted to, And I started making the investment. Now, the cool part about this is, my friends, is let me put these data cards away, okay? Yeah. But yeah, this is going to make playing pretty handy. So I already have all the data cards here. Now, I also have some data cards for Gretchen, and I got some data cards for the Storm Boys, which I have Gretchen in my, I have them in my other tub. They're already put together, but they're not painted, Because what it was is I was working on a green tide list, and at the time, I was able to buy stuff really cheap because I was looking for older models, okay? So now, speaking of older models, now I got 16 of these guys, and it's pretty cool because let me see, watch. So these, look how old these guys are. Look, check this out. Look how old these guys are. Yep, that's 40K, my friend. I think it's like it's like early edition. So these guys are like Fantasy Act with the handgun. And I got 16 of these guys. So I'll be painting these up and using them in this army, okay? Because I'm thinking I'll probably end up bringing at least 3 or 4 squads of boys in this list, okay? Because I'm going for the green tide. I always, I played Orkz in Fantasy. And I always had a big armies, okay? I always played horde armies, Orkz. I have an old Night Goblin army. I used to have a unit of 100 guys. I got a lot of, and what it was is I used to load up on these starter sets, And so, but what I do have is, what's going to be interesting is I got some Storm Boys, okay? So I have new ones and I have the old ones, both, okay? So basically, when this edition dropped, I was buying a lot of stuff to make an army. The game store I thought was going strong, but ended up closing down. So I'm very relieved when I got back into 40K, or tried to get back into it, to see that they're using a lot of the same models. So that was really nice. I do have a couple of models that aren't, really old, that are just out of scale. I have a couple of things from Gorka Morka some people gave me, some friends, like some vehicles. They're really tiny. It's really funny. So, but what I do have, my friends, is I have, let me find an unpainted one. So what I do have, my friends, is I have these very, very old Stone Boys that with the metal torso that came with this funky looking rocket. It looks very retro, okay? Now I have a bunch of these, but I don't have a lot of the rockets, okay? So I bought these used online on eBay, and so I was just happy to get them. A lot of the stuff is missing arms, but I can actually use my other Orc arms from 40K, no problem. So when I bought them, that's how they kind of came. A lot of them just came with no arms, and then some come painted. And like I said, I don't have the rockets for these other guys, but it'll be easy to make something for these, you know, because they're Orkz. It doesn't have to look perfect, okay? And then I did buy one box of the newer models, okay? So, and I have those guys put together. I stopped assembling them because, you know, the store closed and I had nobody to play with. So I just ended up getting packed up. So thank goodness I get to use them again. So here you go. Here's another good shot here, see? And you can see this is where I kind of glued on the other arms. That came from a different set on there. Basically, the older 40K guys, you know, that aren't the Black Reach ones. The ones from before where you had the arms and stuff. And also, too, what I did, so yeah. Now, another thing I did, since I played Fantasy, at the time I was trying to make my army a little different. I love the kit bash. So what I was doing, my friends, is, let me find that container here. Where is that? Oh yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be the unpainted ones. Hold on. I got so many bags. Oh, here you go. These guys right here. Okay, so what I did, my friends, is I took a lot of my 6th edition Fantasy Orkz, and then I basically went to the game store at the time, and I bought a bunch of bits. I bought a lot of bits online. So what I have, my friends, is I have Fantasy Orkz. They're wearing the Fantasy clothes. They'll look better once they're painted. And then I just glued on the 40K arms. And since they're pretty much the same scale, most of the time it went on pretty well, you know. And so I have like 20 of these guys. So that's going to be another unit too. And these guys I have with the shooters only. Not the sluggers, but the shooters. You know, I just wanted to have them, and they all have like the kilts and stuff. It's going to look cool once I paint them. And I only want to do like one unit that way. So that way they kind of be like a standalone unit. They all have the same clothes, and they will look different from all the other 40K guys. So I'm looking forward to getting this project on the road. But as you can see here, you know how cheap Orkz can be, and you're saying, God, Ernie, that doesn't look like 2,000 points at all. Not when like 46 models is going to be like 500 points, you know. So I'm not going to tell you any point totals. I don't want to get in trouble, okay? So, you know, but you can look that information up yourself. Go buy the book, go buy the cards. You know, I'll just talk in general points. I'm not going to say what units cost. I don't want to get in trouble. So, now, let me put this aside, my quick relief, my friends. This is not the whole army, okay? This is what's going to get me started. This is mostly boys. This is pretty much all boys, and maybe about, I think I got like 10 knobs in here. I got 10, and then they also have the big shooters and the rocket launchers. So I basically, I had enough for 4 big units of boys, okay, of like 20 each. That's what this box contains, like about 80 boys, okay. And so that, because I was going to do a green tide. Now in my storage locker, I got about like 50, 60 knobs, okay. So what I did is I was able to buy a lot of this stuff super cheap, okay. So the 5 knobs that came in the set, I mean, I was buying them for, oh God, a crazy cheap. So I kept buying a bunch of them, and then I bought the knob set that had the interchangeable parts, and then I kit bashed these guys by cutting their arms off, and you'll see it down the road. So I have an insane amount of knobs. Eventually I'll play a giant army where I can bring them all. I can't wait. Okay, so, like I said, this is no way this is going to be like 2,000 points. Not even, my friends, that's not the plan. Okay, let me take a quick drink. Now, I've been involved with the Warhammer hobby for quite a while, my friend, okay? So before I started playing, Warhammer, I was playing other GW games. I didn't, I had Mighty Heroes. I used to play Hero Quest. They made the models. It was a collaboration between Hasbro and GW. So I was playing GW games for a while before my friend Jesse, my best friend Jesse, who worked at a game store at the time, told me about Warhammer. And that was back in 6th edition, and I've been loving it since. Now, I went through a long period. Once 8th edition ended, I stopped. And then I played a little bit of Age of Sigmar. Maybe the first year it was out, but I couldn't get no interest. Nobody wanted to play, everybody was really upset that Warhammer blew up the world. So what can you do, my friends? It all went in the closet. And that's why I started making my videos last year. So if you look at my channel, you'll see, hey, what's in my tubs? Or, hey, this has been packed since 8th edition. Okay. I have a lot of old models, my friend, that when I bought them, they really weren't old models. So, now, let's get to the gravy, my friends. So, I picked this up last year, my friends. Okay, so when I picked this up, this was going to be my reintroduction into 40K, and this was going to be like a big part of my channel, okay? Because at the time I was doing a lot of old world content, and then in July, I hurt my shoulder really bad. I mean, really bad, where it still affects me now. I'm not the same, okay? And I had a frozen shoulder. I almost had to have surgery. You know, I'm 61 years old, my friends. So, this has been sitting in the storage locker for a while, my friends, okay? Now, I got this from the same store, WizKids. Now, when I bought this, it was already sold out for a while now. And Craig, the owner, had pulled out the back room. And yeah, I got a fair deal on it. And I picked it up in a heartbeat. And so we're going to be using this as well in our 2,000 point army because it basically has the same models that I'm using now, you know, so they'll basically blend in really well. Now, I've always wanted to have a truck. I've always, you know, now I do have the Burnas and Ludas. I bought those already, and I basically had those assembled in the storage locker, but I need more because because the thing about the Orkz, generally in fantasy, and I guess the same in 40K, is they're cheap because they're a horde army. So you can bring a lot of guys. You know, you bring a lot of numbers to the board. You know, a lot of boots on the ground. Okay, so now with this set, I'm probably not going to use the Stampa, okay, because I'm a beginning player. I've only played one game, and I don't want to start using such advanced models when I'm just starting, okay? So I basically, between what I got over here and what I have in here, and I can probably put together 2,000 points, no problem, without having to use the Stampa. So I would definitely use the truck as a transport. It all depends. It all depends on how it is when I start playing the games, you know, how my confidence level feels, okay? So this is going to be pretty fun, my friends. So basically, this comes with the Big Mac, a truck, 20 boys, 5 Burnas, 5 Ludas, and then, yeah. So like 26 models, okay? So now the Stampa, I'm not going to be using. Probably what I'll be using right away is going to be the Ludas and the Burnas, my friend. Now, what I did, okay, so I'm all about trying to, save money and try to stretch out this hobby because, my friends, this is an expensive hobby, okay? And you got to be, okay, if you don't have a lot of money, you got to be resourceful, okay? So, oh God, most of the stuff is the Stampas. Wow. Okay, where's the boys at? Are they here on the bottom? Okay. This is amazing, my friend. I think they're on the bottom. Yeah, they're on the bottom. Just pull out all the regular troops. Hold on. This is gorgeous. Look at all this gorgeous plastic, my friends. Okay, hold on. So basically what we want is we want all the normal stuff first, okay? We want the boys and we want the Ludas out first, okay? And okay, so this is the stuff for... Okay, this is the truck sprue. So this sprue is for the truck. Okay, and then, okay. And then we start getting into the Stampa sprues. Okay, we're going to start putting this stuff back. Yeah, because we're not going to be using this stuff right away. So the stuff we're going to assemble right away, we're going to put on the top, my friends. I cannot wait to build this. Now, I have airbrushed in the past, and I have found that when I was unpacking, but that might have to wait till I actually move, okay? Because I'm moving, my friends. So once I move, I'll have a better place to put stuff together. Okay, that didn't go in great, but that's okay. because I'll be building this stuff soon. So I'll be building these boys, another 20 boys. Now, what I was saying before with the Ludas and the Bernas is basically on the sprues, when I bought the box, you could build either or, okay? And so what I did is I took extra Orkz and I used their torsos and head and then used the extra bits, so I had double the amount per box, okay? And so I was able to do that I bought a box of boys, and then the little small box you can buy, I used to be able to buy, and then I bought the Ludas and the Burners. I bought all three of those together, and basically was able to double my yield, for a good amount of cash. So we're going to keep these guys on the top, okay? Because this is stuff I'll be assembling next. So once I get that 500 points of the Black Reach stuff done, then I'll start assembling this, okay? Now, my friends, we'll be sharing this together. Now, I'm not going to try to do like I did in my old world videos, where I tried to glue it in real time and everything got stuck to my fingers, because since then, I've gotten better at the editing. I'll just show, basically it's going to be more about the painting than the assembling, So when you guys see these, I'll probably have them mostly put together, and unless I want to do something kind of cool to show you. But generally, we're going to be just painting and painting, So this is going to be the summer, okay? All right. We're almost ready to wrap this up, friends. So I'm very excited about this. I have a lot more free time in my life now. So now I have time. And this is on Thursdays. This is a night off. I usually don't do anything anyways. So it's perfect. The mall's not far from the house. It's like 10 minutes away. Even though I'm selling my home, who knows when that's going to happen. It's been on the market for about a month already. And so, but I can do this while I'm here, and, I'll be able to get a lot done. I'm very excited. I'm very enthused. The fact that I have the big bulk of my army half painted, half assembled already is going to help, It's going to help, friends. I'm so glad I'm back in the hobby. God, I missed it. I miss playing my little plastic soldiers. I was showing, I just can't wait. I can't wait. I got some other projects down the pipeline concerning the Warhammer. I'll be picking up my old world. I have some old world models as well in the closet. So basically what I did, my friend, is I brought one tub. I'm going to take this tub back and just bring the Warhammer stuff, take my old world stuff back until I can get a small force, and then I'll switch back and forth, okay? So right now, at this particular game store, 40K is getting all the traction. So I got to jump on the bandwagon and play the game everybody's playing. Once I meet some more people and maybe I can get some old world games in, because there are some old world players, because I've seen them in the Discord. Okay, my friends, I will put a link to the game store in the comments. I believe they have I think they have a website, and you can't really order off the website, but it tells about the place. It's a nice game. Craig, the gentleman who owns and runs the store, is a nice gentleman. He's all about community and games. Basically, it's Magic and Pokemon and 40K that gets paid primarily. When I went to go buy some paints the other day, it was so busy because they were having a Magic tournament that I couldn't even get in the store. So I came back the next day, and that's when I found out about the painting excursion thing. So, the escalation league. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's late, my friends. It's almost 10:30 already. It's pretty late. So, yeah. So tomorrow I'll get painting. I got to go through my paints and see what's good, what's bad. Now, the stuff I bought for the old world, I know is okay. Now, I was doing these guys with the Commando Tan paint for the pants. I'm pretty sure that paint's going to be dry, We'll see how it goes. I might have to change my color scheme and change the color of the pants. I'm not sure. We'll see I'll figure something out. Okay, friends, you know what? Hey, thanks for liking and watching. And so you'll be seeing this. This is going to be a thing, and because I'm excited about it. I've always wanted to play Warhammer. I always wanted to play 40K. Always. I've been a fantasy player for so long, and I've always wanted to make the jump into 40K. And I got some ideas for some armies. I'm not going to discuss because I don't want to put them out there and not follow through. There's nothing worse than not following through, my friends. Hey, you guys have a great night, and may your dice always roll sixes, and may your battles be fun and fair. Later, friends. Next time you see me, we'll be painting these bad boys instead of talking about them. Hey, bye for now, friends. Bye for now.